Hi everyone, this is Marianne and welcome to a series on my channel called 5-Minute Book Talk, in which I take roughly 5 minutes to talk about a book that I have read while I flip through the book. And in this video, we are going to talk about The 7.5 Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle, a novel by Stuart Turton, which I read on my Kindle. Now, I mentioned this book in my previous vlog, which I will link down below. I finished reading this book while I was staying in my brother's house, and that's where I have filmed this particular video clip. I did not have my filming platform with me, so please forgive the slight movements in the video. And also please note that there will definitely be spoilers in this video. If you haven't read this novel yet, feel free to click away and just return when you've already read the book. Now, I chose to read this book because of the title. The title is just awesome. You come into the book wanting to or craving to know, how did Evelyn Hardcastle come to have 7.5 deaths? Did she really die 7.5 times? And if she did, how is that even possible? And the book opens in a forest, and we're given a man who seems to have forgotten who he was and why he was there to begin with, but he suddenly blurts out the name Anna without knowing why, and he hears a woman scream from somewhere, and he also hears a gunshot. So now, as a reader, you normally would think maybe that screaming woman was Evelyn Hardcastle on her first death, or it could be Anna. And who was this man, and why has he forgotten who he was? That is the opening scene. It is very, very riveting. And so what happened with me was that I proceeded with this character, this man who has forgotten who he was also the narrator, so he was quite unreliable. And I was completely empathetic with his situation, and I was actually rooting for him because he seemed genuinely worried about Anna, or this girl who may or may not be alive in the forest. And then his name is eventually revealed to be Sebastian Bell, and that he was a doctor, and that he was a guest of this place called Blackheath, owned by a very affluent family. Blackheath is composed of large grounds that included a forest, and a lake, and a very large manor house with multiple rooms and wings. It was very, very old and very, very aristocratic. And the map that you have seen at the beginning of the book, that is Blackheath, and there was going to be a party there. And as the story comes along, other characters are introduced as Sebastian Bell goes through his day trying to get help for Anna, or whoever was that girl in the forest, and so on and so forth, and he gets to meet Evelyn Hardcastle. But he also does find out that Evelyn Hardcastle really will die, and it cannot be stopped, but his mission was to try to find out who will kill Evelyn Hardcastle on that day or on the night of the party, although it was not clear to him at that point why he even had the mission to begin with, and why him, right? And why he cannot even prevent her death. Those were not clear to him. Of course, he didn't want anyone to die, so he tried to rebel against his mission and actually tried to prevent anyone from dying. And that's when he starts encountering dangers and receiving threats, all in a span of a few hours, and then he faints out of fear and exhaustion. And then it turns out Sebastian Bell is not Sebastian Bell. The body is Sebastian Bell, but someone else was inhabiting that body, and he was a whole different person. And when Sebastian Bell passed out, the person inhabiting Sebastian Bell's body transferred to a different body of a whole different person who was also a guest at Blackheath. And this persona, he's given 8 days to live out this one single day, which will end in the killing of Evelyn Hardcastle every single time. And every day he will be inhabiting a different body when the current body goes to sleep or gets knocked out or passes out. And the condition was, when he gives the answer to that question of who kills Evelyn Hardcastle, that's when he will be set free to return to his real normal world, his normal body, away from Blackheath, and no longer needing to inhabit the body of other people. And that persona, the man, is the one narrator for the entire novel, just inhabiting the bodies of different people. If he doesn't give the answer in 8 days, he will return to the beginning of the loop. Every time he transfers to a different body, he brings with him all of the knowledge that he has gathered while he was inhabiting the previous bodies. I mean, his investigation on Anna and Evelyn Hardcastle continues. He does not need to start from scratch every time he transfers to a new body. And that's it. We just have this persona, a man, transferring from body to body, trying to figure out who kills Evelyn Hardcastle. It was such a wild ride, I could not put this book down, and in the end, does the persona complete his mission? Does he find out who kills Evelyn Hardcastle? Yes, he does. But it was not even the Evelyn Hardcastle that he knew. And that's why the last death, which was supposed to be the eighth death, right? No, it is only half a death. And in the end, we do find out why the novel is called The Seven and a Half Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle. It was really good, and the ending was so satisfying. The book also has some guide questions at the end, which novels hardly ever have anymore, and I read them. They were quite interesting. And this is the first book of Stuart Turton, and I think he did a phenomenal job. I highly recommend this book.